ain't pretty. Unless you're talking about the bridge and seaport. Even from the seats in the upper decks, you can see the seashore. Tailgate function with the carne asada. Just walk from the tribal building for the Padres, I'm on it. Yeah, cause for the 619, we'll knock you down. Anything for the Brown, put it on the town. Started back rocking the Brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padre gang.
All right, everybody. Ben Fadden here. Just a quick video, not an episode, but I did just want to answer this question. Was the Padres season a success? Obviously, yesterday was a painful loss. It was a disappointing end to the Padres season. You know, I didn't agree with every decision Bob Melvin made this weekend in Philadelphia. I was actually fine with him leaving in Robert Suarez there to face Bryce Harper. I know that's a big conversation today. For me, I was more pissed off about him leaving Manaea in Game 4. But again, that's not the topic of this video here. Was this season a success? I think it was. I think it obviously was a success. Why? I think it's pretty simple. This team beat the 101-win Mets, beat the 111-win Dodgers. They finally slayed the dragon. They made it to the NLCS, something that they've never done in my lifetime. They did it all without one of the best players in baseball, Fernando Tatis Jr. When Fernando Tatis Jr. started the season on the IL, it was like, all right, well, it's going to be tough here. You're probably playing for second place with the Dodgers. Obviously, it ended up, definitely playing for second place. Padres did. 22-game gap, right, between the two teams when the regular season ended. But they kept fighting throughout the whole year. And AJ Preller, he had some guts to make that move for Juan Soto before the trade deadline, and he made sure this Padres team would be in position to contend not just this year, but years in advance. I think that's what also makes this year a success, is that you made progress, right? It's a lot of progress for 1 year. To make the playoffs for the first time in a real season since 2006, to beat the Mets, to beat the Dodgers, and make it to the NLCS, like, that's a lot of success in 1 year. You bring in Soto, all of, the years, all the days, the long days, weeks, and, road trips of Preller scouting Jackson Merrill and Hassel and Abrams and Gore and trying to develop those guys. And he's like, you know what? I want to win so bad. I am willing to give away all of those guys who are going to cost not a whole lot amount of money when they come up in the big leagues, right? Abrams and Gore weren't costing a lot of money. I'm willing to trade those guys to bring in Juan Soto for the next 3 pennant races, including this year, so 2 more after this year, and improve the Padres' chances of winning. He went out and got Josh Hader. He went out and got Brandon Drury and Josh Bell, who he knew when he went and traded for those guys, he knew that those were going to be just 1 year, half-year deals. They were going to be free agents at the end of the year. He knew that, but he went for it. And credit to him. Look, the Padres were not expected to be in the NLCS. Beating the Dodgers in the postseason when it matters, that made the Padres season a success. Going into the year, making the playoffs was the bare minimum. As the season progressed, you saw the talent on this team. You saw them get better before the trade deadline, and the expectations went up a little bit. I said, yeah, they're definitely going to have to win a wild card series, and they're going to have to be competitive in the division series. You figured they were going to have to face the Dodgers, and that was going to be tough. So I figured, you know what? To be a successful season, you got to be competitive against the Dodgers. And they weren't just competitive. They beat the Dodgers. They beat them in 4 games. Not 5. They beat them in 4 games. And they were able to do it in front of the home crowd. That's a moment I'm never going to forget. So that in itself makes this season a success. Sure, if you're going to look at it black and white, if you're going to have a universal answer, was it a success? You'll say no because they didn't win it all. Okay, well then it's not a successful season for 29 other teams. Same thing for NBA and NFL and NHL and every other sport that doesn't win the whole thing. But going into this year, winning the World Series, I don't think that was the expectation. Sure, players and stuff, they're gonna say that, right? Because all the players say that. You know, we wanna go win the World Series. That's our expectation. But the fans, I don't think we realistically expected the Padres to win the World Series. And we especially did not expect them to win the World Series or even get to the World Series when Fernando went down for the entire year. When he had that suspension, I mean, remember, guys, it was not a guarantee that the Padres were even going to make the postseason. We were fighting there for like weeks, on talk radio shows that I'm listening to, and on this show, it's like, what do they have to do here just to make the postseason? We were worried every single night about what Milwaukee was doing and what Philly was doing. You know, what's going to happen here? Looking at that scoreboard, yes, we won. Milwaukee lost, right? It took almost the last series of the regular season for the Padres to clinch a playoff spot. And then they made it to the NLCS. So, this season is a success for me. There's some fans that might say it's not a success. They didn't win at all. Well, I think you had unrealistic expectations of this team then. That's what I would say. So I just wanted to put that video out. Let me know your thoughts. If you think the season was a success, feel free to let me know why. If you agree with me, if you don't agree, feel free to let me know why you disagree in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Hopefully, it's an interview. Thank you so much for tuning in here. AJ Preller, I believe, speaks to the media tomorrow at 11 a.m., so I'll have a reaction to that, I'm sure. And have a good night. Go Pods. See ya.